Welcome to the Network Plus Prepcast, your dedicated audio companion for mastering every objective on the CompTIA Network Plus certification exam. This series is produced by baremetalcyber.com. In episode 128, we explore the documents and practices that define the day-to-day actions within network operations. A standard operating procedure, or SOP, is not just a helpful guide, it's an essential component of operational stability. By outlining exactly how to perform recurring tasks, SOPs ensure that team members follow consistent steps every time, whether configuring a device, applying an update, or responding to an alert. SOPs minimize user error, reduce downtime, and ensure every action aligns with organizational expectations. On the Network Plus exam, SOPs are often referenced in change control, incident response, and documentation scenarios. The exam emphasizes the role of SOPs because they represent the bridge between policy and execution. When followed correctly, they create predictable outcomes that support network performance and reliability. Their structure, purpose, and use all reflect best practices for maintaining control in live environments. Questions may ask about what goes into an SOP, when it should be used, and how it differs from other forms of documentation. Understanding these distinctions and how SOPs contribute to both preventative and reactive tasks is key to success on the exam and in real-world IT environments. A standard operating procedure is a formally documented sequence of steps used to complete a specific task. These tasks are usually recurring, such as configuring a switch, enabling logging, or restoring a backup. SOPs help maintain consistency across teams by ensuring everyone follows the same method. This reduces variability and limits human error. In regulated industries or environments with strict compliance requirements, having documented procedures is also mandatory. On the exam, expect to define an SOP and describe its role in maintaining network stability. Common topics addressed by network SOPs include how to perform backups and restores, install and replace hardware and apply software updates or security patches. These are tasks that occur frequently and carry the risk of disruption if done incorrectly. By following an SOP, a technician knows exactly which steps to take, which tools to use, and how to validate success. You may see questions on the exam about which operational tasks are best suited for SOPs and why they improve reliability in routine work. The benefits of following SOPs are numerous. First, they reduce the chance of mistakes by giving staff a tested and verified method to complete each task. Second, they speed up resolution time during incidents since responders don't have to guess or improvise. Third, they make it easier to transfer responsibilities between shifts or teams, since the documentation outlines what was done and how. These benefits are regularly referenced in both exam scenarios and operational training as they promote efficiency and stability. SOPs are not the same as policies or guidelines. Policies are high-level rules that describe what must be done. For example, requiring that all network changes be reviewed. Guidelines are recommended practices that offer flexibility, such as suggestions for securing Wi-Fi networks. In contrast, SOPs are step-by-step instructions detailing exactly how to carry out a specific procedure. Understanding these distinctions will help you answer exam questions that ask when to use each type of documentation and how they support one another. The structure of a typical SOP includes a clear title, a statement of purpose, and a defined scope that tells the user when the SOP applies. This is followed by detailed, ordered steps that should be taken to complete the task, often supplemented by notes, diagrams, or command syntax. Contact information for the author or escalation paths is also common, in case clarification is needed. On the exam, you may be asked about the components of an SOP and how to recognize or construct a properly formatted document. Keeping SOPs current is critical. Version control ensures that as procedures, tools, or systems change, the documents are updated accordingly. Each revision should be tracked with a version number, author, date, and a brief summary of what changed. Without this, staff may follow outdated instructions, leading to errors or security vulnerabilities. The certification exam may test your understanding of why SOP maintenance is important and how to identify when a revision is required. Some concrete examples of network SOPs include how to configure a Layer 2 switch, how to enable SNMP and direct logs to a central server, or how to replace a failing interface port on a router. These procedures may include logging steps, exact command syntax, post-change validation tasks, and rollback procedures if something goes wrong. On the exam, you may see these as scenario questions, where a technician must perform a task using an SOP, and you'll be expected to determine whether the steps were followed correctly. During an incident response, SOPs help remove confusion and reduce delays. In high-pressure moments, teams may not have time to discuss what needs to happen. They need to act quickly. An SOP provides clear, pre-approved steps so responders can move without hesitation. It also helps ensure consistency between incidents, improving accountability and response accuracy. Expect the exam to include incident scenarios where SOP use is the correct method for restoring service or escalating issues efficiently. SOPs also support training and onboarding by giving new staff immediate access to the procedures they'll be expected to follow. Instead of relying on verbal instructions or shadowing, new employees can learn directly from the documentation. This promotes consistency in how tasks are completed and reduces the chance of confusion or miscommunication. For example purposes, remember that SOPs encourage self-sufficiency and standardized knowledge transfer across teams. For more cyber content and books, please check out cyberauthor.me. Also, there are other podcasts on cybersecurity and more at baremetalcyber.com. The process of creating an SOP begins with subject matter experts, typically senior technicians or IT leads, who know the task inside and out. These experts document the procedure step by step, ensuring that each action is accurate, complete, and clearly stated. Once the draft is created, it should be reviewed by stakeholders such as team leads, security officers, or compliance managers. After final approval, the SOP is published in a location where staff can easily access it. On the exam, you may be asked to identify who creates SOPs or explain the approval process before a document becomes official. Once written, SOPs need to be stored in a centralized, easily accessible location. Common options include document management systems, shared folders, internal wikis, or ticketing platforms with knowledge base features. These storage systems must be available during both normal operations and emergencies, when time is critical. Accessibility ensures that even if the assigned staff member is unavailable, anyone else can follow the procedure correctly. Expect exam questions to include scenarios where the availability of SOPs affects the success of a maintenance or incident response task. Auditing for SOP compliance is important to ensure that staff members are following documented procedures. During internal audits, reviewers may compare work logs or change tickets to the associated SOP steps. External audits may also require evidence that defined procedures were followed during updates or incidents. Deviations from SOPs should be documented and reviewed, especially if they led to errors. On the exam, you may be asked how audits verify operational integrity and why SOP compliance is important for accountability and risk management. After tools, platforms, or processes change, SOPs must be updated. These updates may result from new software versions, hardware replacements, incident reviews, or lessons learned during real-world use. It's important not only to revise the document, but also to notify the team that changes have been made. Keeping an outdated SOP in circulation increases the risk of failure or misconfiguration. The exam may ask you what steps are required to update an SOP and how to ensure teams are aware of the latest version. SOPs are commonly used in change management processes. During a planned change, technicians reference SOPs in change tickets to show which steps will be followed and ensure rollback procedures are defined. Many organizations require that any significant change, especially those affecting production systems, include an associated SOP to minimize risk. During post-change review, following the documented steps helps confirm whether the change was implemented correctly. On the exam, expect to identify how SOPs reduce risk during network modifications. For SOPs to be useful in real time, they must be written clearly and designed for fast access. That means using plain language, avoiding jargon where possible, and including screenshots or diagrams when helpful. SOPs should also be stored in systems that remain accessible during outages or incidents, such as cloud-based platforms with offline access or local internal web pages. In time-sensitive situations, a confusing or inaccessible SOP can cause delays and error. The exam may present scenarios involving poor documentation or inaccessibility and ask how to resolve or prevent those issues. In some industries, SOPs carry legal and regulatory significance. Following them shows due diligence and helps demonstrate that best practices were followed. For example, security procedures outlined in an SOP might be used to show compliance with a regulatory framework like HIPAA or PCI DSS. During audits, organizations may be required to produce SOPs for how backups are handled, how changes are made, or how incidents are escalated. On the exam, be prepared to connect SOPs with compliance reporting and risk mitigation requirements. To summarize, SOPs define clear, repeatable actions that support operational stability. They help technicians perform tasks accurately, reduce downtime, and support coordination between teams. When stored properly and kept up to date, they become a powerful part of the IT knowledge base. From onboarding to change management, SOPs provide a foundation for reliable execution. On the Network Plus exam, these documents will appear in both terminology and scenario questions, so knowing their structure and purpose is key to demonstrating your operational readiness. To conclude episode 128, standard operating procedures are more than just documents. They are the tools that turn plans into consistent results. They bring structure to repetitive tasks, reduce guesswork during emergencies, and help new staff perform like seasoned professionals. By incorporating SOPs into daily workflows, organizations create dependable, repeatable outcomes that protect uptime and quality of service. On the exam and in the real world, SOPs represent the quiet discipline that keeps networks running smoothly behind the scenes. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Network Plus Prepcast, your trusted audio guide to the CompTIA Network Plus certification. This episode was produced by baremetalcyber.com. For more cybersecurity podcasts, books, and resources, visit baremetalcyber.com. Thanks for joining us for this episode of the Bare Metal Cybersecurity Plus podcast. For more episodes, tools, and study support, visit us at baremetalcyber.com. And before you take the test, make sure to check out the practice questions in the book Achieve CompTIA Security Plus SY0-701 Exam Success by Dr. Jason Edwards. They cover every domain and are a powerful way to lock in your knowledge.